And welcome everybody to the next live show. Tonight, we are talking about all about you. That's right. Our focus tonight is all about home-based business, how you guys can take your DIY skills that you've developed, turn it into a home-based business. The advantages and why I think two runs. If you own a home and you're not running a home-based business, you're crazy. And if you have a job for somebody and you're working overtime for them on the weekends and not for yourself, you're crazy. Just my own opinion. You don't have to agree with me. But that's what I'm here to talk about tonight. I'm going to show you some numbers, and we're going to talk about the barriers to entry. We're going to talk about specifically how to overcome all of that. Oh, I don't have any business skills. I never went to college, or I'm not familiar with all the ins and outs of running a business. Where do I go? And we're going to deal with all of that in this show. Okay, so strap in. This is going to be great. If you want to do something, but you're feeling restricted or restraining yourself because of fear or you don't have the knowledge or you don't have the skills, we're going to deal with all that tonight so that we can empower you to go out there, get in the marketplace, and make a ton of money. Because here's the deal. Let me just break this down real quick. Bum, 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 bum. All right. The average homeowner, which is who I'm talking to tonight. Okay, now if you don't own a home, all this information is still relevant. You can get into the marketplace, but the average homeowner makes about $70,000 a year to afford a house worth $300,000. Okay, that means you're making $6,000 a month, $4,500 net, and your mortgage is around $1,600. I'm going to go quick through this because it's just a quick recap. And you have a list of expenses. Let's check this out. We got your mortgage, your insurance, your car, your phone, your internet, your utilities. Those are the basic expenses that you pay for after tax dollars. All right. So here's how this works. As a business, if you were to work one day a month and you just set up a real basic business and you make $1,000, okay, now all of these expenses, and you can total it up yourself, okay, become business expenses. So if you make $1,000 a month, a third of your mortgage, because you have to have an office and you got to have storage, and that's the norm. Your house insurance, your car, the insurance, the gas, your phone, the internet, even the utilities on your home, all of these things become write-offs towards your business. Now, I'm not a CPA, and I don't know if it's the same everywhere, but basically 30% of your home expenses, and then your vehicle based on mileage, you can write all of these things off. And it doesn't take very long before you have about a $1,000 a month write-off. Wait a minute, Jeff, didn't you say I'm only going to make $1,000 if I work one day a month? Yeah, and maybe it takes you twice. Maybe you got to work 2 Saturdays, but you make that $1,000. Now what happens is the money that you make pays all those bills, and that leaves you with an extra $1,000 a month in disposable income. It's that simple. And if you want to make more, just work more Saturdays. I mean, where in the world did we ever learn this idea that you only had to work 40 hours a week? The average businessman or businesswoman in this country, North America, if they're successful, they work about 80 to 100 hours a week. That's normal. So if you're not working your tail off, especially in this economy, and you're trying to get ahead, being lucky and working easy, forget it. It's not going to work. But if you want to put in the time, you should own a business, because all the rich people do. Anybody with money has more than one business. I know a guy who has a house with property, and he has a few acres, and he has a forestry business. And then one day there was a huge windstorm, knocked over a bunch of his trees. And so the cost of all that cleanup, the cost of turning all of those trees that fell over into firewood that he was going to burn, became a business expense. And he was able to write that off and get an insurance claim nonetheless. I'm just saying that if you're not running a business, you're not playing the game. You're playing the employee game. And here's the deal. Let me show you this. This is actually really good. The employee game. Okay. Governments love employees. Okay. Here's a time and money curve. Here's you as an employee. That's your curve. Okay. Now, here's inflation curve. Okay. And here's the curve of somebody who knows how to invest. All right. But look at this. This is the employee curve. This is the one they tell you to do. They want you to take a job, get good credit, get a mortgage, work your week, sit down, shut up, don't ask questions. And then the older you get, the more dependent you are on the system. Okay? That's not the American dream. Okay, that's the American nightmare. So if you want to be on the blue curve, an investment curve, you have to have money to invest. And I don't mean gamble. I don't mean like throwing it at the stock market or trying to hit Bitcoin. I mean invest. It means put it where you know where to put it, and put it where you're comfortable, what you know. If you know the stocks, by all means, go ahead. But here on this channel, we talk about home renovations. So if you know about home renovations, you know that if you could put $1,000 a month into materials into your house, you're going to get $3,000 to $4,000 worth of return on that investment from the improvements to the home. Don't forget, our basic model is this: 20% material, 20% for the labor, 20% for the business profit, and 40% for taxes. That makes up the entire project. So if you're getting 80 cents on the dollar for every renovation you do, which is a national average, $20 turns to 80. That's 4 times. So 1,000 of investment in your own time and money to buy materials turns into $4,000 worth of ROI. Now, if you do that on a regular basis, you're going to turn yourself into an investor. You can invest in yourself and your own home. Okay? And that is the beauty of what we're talking about. And if you're going to invest in your own home and you're looking for, hey, it's kind of hard to find that extra $1,000 a month right now, Jeff. Well, here we go. Start your own home-based business. Do pressure washing, do painting, do drywall patching, do something simple. Be the guy willing to get on a ladder to solve someone else's problem, and you're in business. Now, when it comes to business, here's the challenge. I remember in my days, my goodness, I mean, we had to be an accountant, we had to be a salesman, we had to be able to manage our own time and our schedule. We had to be on top of our email. We had to be on top of our receipts. We had to be on top of our appointments. We had to be on top of everything. And you had to have so many hats. You had to wonder how many tradesmen out there could run a business and still be skilled with their hands. Like, you had to be 19 people every single day. It's one of the reasons why I hated the trades. And that's why I became a custom specialist. I would do one bathroom at a time, custom work. It reduced a lot of that work for me, okay? But here's the deal. If you're going to get into this marketplace and you're going to work one day a month or something, or 2 days a month, you're going to want to have something that keeps you so organized it's not even funny. All right? And so here's the deal. We did a show not too long ago. We talked about get into business, guys. The number one question was, Jeff, is there a software out there? So I went looking. All right? Here's what I found. I found the Jobber software, okay? Jobber is a company that sets up all this integration into your computer or your cell phone, okay? So you can do emails, you can do budgets, you can do quotes, you can send and receive, you can set timelines, you can do invoicing. It is like all of those business skills that you need rolled up into one. Every time you buy something, you take a picture and you can post it to your account. It's absolutely amazing. So what I did is I checked it out. I set up an appointment with a lady, and we spent an hour. We went through the whole software, okay? I tried it out, the CRM, the customer resource management. The program is amazing. It removes all of those barriers that you think you're going to have, all right? So all you got to worry about is, do you know how to use your hands? Have you learned the skills? Have you learned anything on this channel you've applied in your own home? And are you going to be able to use that and help other people? Because that's what business is. Taking your skill to help other people, and they pay you for your time. Life is simple. And if you've got the Jobber app, then that can help organize you and give you the heads up, the leg up that you need to be successful in business. Now remember, going into business means you have to have a reasonable expectation of making income. And it can take a few years. So if it takes a few years before you start paying more than just your bills, that's okay. There's no rule that says you've got to be profitable. They just don't want you to be in business losing money every year so you can write it off on your taxes. But if you can be profitable enough to cover all your major expenses and put that extra $1,000 back in your pocket so you can invest in yourself, you become an investor in you. All right? And that is money in the bank. I'm telling you right now. All right. So here we go. Tonight's show, we're going to take questions and answers. If you have questions about running your own business or questions about any of this stuff, give me a message and let me know, because we are members only in the chat tonight. Everybody else is welcome to join. If you've got questions, you want to super chat, go ahead and do it. But I just want to be real honest here, because like when I was in the trades, if I had something like this, there's a really good chance I never would have got into YouTube, because I was getting frustrated in the trades with the amount of time, the amount of energy, and the lack of being able to invest in myself. Y'all were there. I was renovating my farmhouse, right? I was, 48 before I could actually finally do that? I was just making a living. Those are back in the days when there was too many tradesmen. Now there's none. People can't get things done. There's so much room for you to get into the job and start your own small business. Okay, take the skills you've learned and be successful. All right. Wow. I'm glad we got that off our shirt. Now listen, we talked to Jobber, we got this set up. They're going to give you 14 days, okay, absolutely free. Just a trial. You can play with it, you can get familiar with it, okay? And if at the end of those 14 days, if you're happy with it and you want to join Jobber, then you can get our discount. They're going to give you 20% off for the first 6 months, okay? And they're just going to help our community out with getting that established. And as you're getting established, and if you're a member and you got questions, you're not sure about how to run a business, like I said, I'm not an accountant or a CPA, but I've done a lot of that stuff. You can hit me up in the comment section, and we'll do our best to help you guys out. At the end of the day, our channel is all about seeing you guys successful, whether it's your own home or in your own business. I want to just help you out, okay? So let's get on to some questions. And if you got questions about how to run a business or how to get started, hit me up, okay? I'm here for the next hour, and we will do our best to help you all out with all that. All right. Now, I do not see the questions on my comment screen, so I'm going to rely on my guys back in the studio in Ottawa to throw them up for me. Here we go. Joshua Newman, how to find customers to start? That's a great question. Here's the thing. Once you've picked your skill that you're going to work with, and you should try to limit it, all right? Don't be like a jack of all trades. Be a handyman, because handyman in almost every state and jurisdiction in North America is perfectly legal. Check your local codes, because there are limitations. Some places it's 500, some places it's 1,000 or 5,000 a month. It all depends, okay? But you've got to make sure you comply. You don't ever want to go outside of the rules, because you can get really penalized for that. But if you want to find customers, it's as simple as advertising your services on social media, buying a couple of lawn signs and sticking it in the neighborhood where you would like to work. You'd be surprised. You could spend $50 on a couple of lawn signs, stick it at the entrance to like one of these gated communities or one of these nice neighborhoods, okay, where it comes off the main feed, the main road. And everybody will drive by that sign and go, wow, finally somebody who's available to clean out my gutters. And the phone will ring off the hook. I'm just saying, make your sign with a QR code, and the people will be walking by, they'll pull out their phone and zoop, bam, they're right on your website. Okay? Or put your phone number on there if you want to be answering the phone all day long. These kinds of old school techniques work. It's people connecting with people. The biggest challenge you have out there is letting people know you're available. So pick a neighborhood that you want to work in. It reduces your commute, right? You can identify who's got the money. Where are the people who don't want to get on a ladder? Pick that community, target it, put the sign out, and you'll be surprised how easy it is to find customers. And other than that, it's like word of mouth. Like, bottom line, I mean, if you know how to patch a hole in drywall and you're proficient at it, you start telling people about it, your name and number will go through the community like wildfire, because it's really, really difficult to find someone out there to do basic tasks with basic tools. And we call them basic, but that's because we've been learning and practicing. Everybody else who doesn't watch this channel has no idea how to patch a hole in drywall. Your skills are valuable. All right, let's get to another question. Joe says, what about the cost of insurance for your business, and if it erodes away your profit? All right, that's a good question, Joe. Okay, personal liability insurance. All right, it's a thing. It's not expensive. You'd be surprised. As one guy going in as a handyman in someone else's house, it's not going to erode your profit. It's going to be an added expense. But that's about one of the only expenses you're going to have to deal with when you're licensing as a handyman. Remember, if you're good at what you do, you can organize your day to make $500 or $1,000 a day. And I know that's really hard for people to understand, but think of it this way. You all know about Ace Hardware, right? They've got a handyman service. There's other 3 or 4 national handyman services out there. You know they're charging $80 to $120 an hour to do work in people's homes? Let that just soak in. 8-hour day, $120 an hour, that's $1,000. Now, if you only work one day a month, and you got to pay $100 a month for insurance, yeah, that's a bit of a sting, but you're still up 900. But if you're going to work every day, like every Saturday, Joe, who cares what the cost is? I'm telling you, the barriers to entry are very small. So don't be intimidated with that. All right. Pay for your insurance. You might even need it in this crazy world that we live in. Like, you don't want to be going to someone's house to paint. And you put down your tarps and they walk by and they slip and fall on the ground. Oh, my back. And, yeah, you're damn right. You want insurance. Okay. It doesn't take much. So make sure you get it. This isn't even about profit. If all you do is break even and you've written off all of those other expenses that you used to pay for after tax, okay, you've now not had to pay for those expenses with the money you made from your paycheck. You keep that money. Does that make sense? So you used to pay $1,000 a month worth of expenses after your taxes, okay? And now the business is paying for it. So you don't have to. So that's the money you're making. Does that make any sense? Okay. Let's get to the next question. Jeffrey Roy, you did your first luxury vinyl plank floor and it came out great. Thanks to Jeff. I wonder who that Jeff guy is. We should say thanks. How would one charge a customer? Is it by the square foot? The best way to find out what to charge a customer, go down to your local Home Depot or your Lowe's and ask them what the rates are for install. They do all that stuff. I'll tell you right now, it's probably in about $1.50 or $2 a square foot range. And so if you do a bedroom for somebody, and let's say it's 120 square feet, and you're going to get $250, and that's the base price for installation. And that doesn't include removal of all the other junk, okay? It doesn't include the trim moldings if they're going to get any. Doesn't include the transitions. Doesn't include any paint work, okay? That's their base install price. So consider all that kind of stuff. And if you're not sure, when in doubt, tell people an hourly rate. Piece of cake. Tell them it's $80 an hour. You're running a business. You got expenses. If not, put your own floor in, buddy. Like, it's okay to say no. If someone tries to talk you down, don't. Set your price and go with it. And remember where you live. Regional, it counts, right? Like if you're on Long Island and someone's asking to install a flooring, yeah, you're going to be a little more expensive than you would be in the middle of nowhere, Alabama or Georgia, right? That's just the way it is. But, try to keep that in mind. How much you make at your job right now, double it. That should be your hourly rate to start. I don't care what anybody says. You're already worth your hourly salary. And in every business I've ever known, the money they pay people is half of what it actually costs to have them as an employee. Right? Because they're making money on you. They wouldn't hire you if they weren't making money. And they've got to give you an office and benefits and blah, 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 blah. So just double your average hourly wage that you're making right now and make that your starting point as a worst case scenario. So if you're only making $20 an hour somewhere, start at 40, okay? And then work your way up. And as you have gained success and momentum and you're getting those customer reviews, you can start charging 50, 60, 70, 80. Stick a sign on the side of your truck, handyman service. Now you're a bloody business in everybody's eyes as you drive by. You're darn right you're charging 80 or $100. All right? And remember, you can't just stop your job and go handyman. I want to just make this point. If you have a job and you have a credit score, your job and your credit score and where you live, they're all related together. Okay? So if you haven't lived somewhere for a couple of years, and if you're always changing jobs, your credit score sucks. So if you quit your job to start a handyman service, you won't have credit for 3 years if you're making money right out of the gate. So consider your life plan where you are. Best to start small. Don't despise a small beginning. And then over the course of a year or two, then decide, am I ready to ramp this up? Do I need to go bigger or go home? Right? But be hesitant. Don't just go in all in. Because, having a job helps your credit. And if you're planning to buy a house in a year or so, you're going to want to have that stability in your life or they're not going to approve you for your mortgage. Now, there we go. Cheers, Jeffrey. Let's get another question out here. Yinzer, welcome to Pittsburgh in the house. Jeff, what about a labor-only handyman? Okay, as a DIYer, I'd love to just hire pure labor to work my supplies and projects sometimes. Yeah, easy, whatever, if they're good, sure. Nothing wrong with labor only. Like to be a laborer, there's actually a whole industry around that about being a laborer, right? And these guys, generally speaking, because they're working every day, they've got training, they do the fall protection, they take their courses on how to wear a hat and how to tie their boots and all this kind of stuff. And they'll show up with different levels of sobriety on a job site. And you usually ask for 5 and you fire 2 right away and you keep 3 for the rest of the day. That's my experience. If I'm wrong, you let me know, but that's my experience. And generally speaking, that works out well. But if you're a homeowner and you want to just hire a laborer, like someone, an extra pair of hands who's somewhat competent, you could start a handyman business saying, hey, extra pair of hands, advertise it. And why not? You'd be surprised. Because like, for instance, I'm doing a bathtub right now and I need an extra pair of hands to install this tub. I've got to install it straight down. I can't be on an angle. I'm probably going to get my cameraman to give me a hand on that day. And I got no option, right? Where am I going to hire someone to help me install a tub? So yeah, that's a great idea. It's an easy 50 to 100 bucks an hour if they're good. It's an easy 50 to 100 bucks an hour if they're sober and have 2 legs. I'm telling you right now, like, I mean, that's the market we're in. Like, my God, like, think about this. Like, you can get a job at Walmart saying hi to people for 18 bucks an hour right now. If you're proficient with tools and you have skills and you can fix things, you know, give yourself some credit. You're probably worth at least 50. Anyway, cheers to Pittsburgh. Go Steelers. Next question, please. Existential paint. Good to see you, buddy. Had a customer that was so cheap he shorted you 20 bucks after a day of handyman service. You better believe I never called him back about finishing his attic. This is going to happen. Okay? Real life, this is going to happen. I'm going to say something here that may not be all that popular, but it's the truth. There are different places in the world that do business differently. And as people move around to different countries and different societies, they take their learned traits with them. Okay? So some groups of people love to negotiate a price right up front. And they're hard negotiators, right? Ooh, they're hard negotiators up front. And then some people, they love to negotiate the last check after it's all done. And then some people, they just stiff you. And some people, they go, well, there's this, there's this, there's this. Here's what I think it's worth. Sue me already. All right? And this is going to happen. But at least as a DIYer, as a handyman service, it's only one day, right? And so when you're pricing, the more experience you get, you realize if I'm going to charge 100 bucks for something, and let's say the people in my neighborhood, 2 out of 10 are going to screw me somehow a little bit to a certain number, you learn to adjust your price for everybody, okay? And you let the ones that pay the bills pay for those who don't. That's the cost to keep you in business. You don't have to tell everybody that story, but that's the way it works, all right? So cheap customers are out there. You're going to get them. And the more experience you have, the more you'll smell them. You just sniff them out right away. You'll be in there having a quick call, and they'll ask a question, be like, ding, spidey sense, stomach goes off, whatever. All right, the hair stands up on the back of your neck. And you're like, you know, I think maybe I'm not interested in this project after all. And you just say, thank you for your time, and off you go. Right? You got to cherry pick a little bit, right? Not every cherry tastes as sweet as it looks, let me tell you. All right, let's move on to the next one. Return Sarah when replacing a toilet just to replace for aesthetics. Is it as simple as disconnecting the things and replacing the ring? Toilets are very universally compatible. Any wisdom of note? Yeah, you actually have a point. If you're just changing the toilet for the sake of changing aesthetics or going from a large volume flush to a smaller one, if it was installed right the first time, okay, then you got no problem. But you'd be surprised how many toilets are out there where once you take it off, you realize, it wasn't installed right. And then you've got to adjust your flange height, okay, or do some minor repairs. So consider that. If it's a newer house and you want to just change your toilet, should be so simple it's not even funny, okay? The hardest place to screw up a new toilet install is in a new house. Unless your bathroom's got tile, then you might be surprised. But here's the good thing. If you take your toilet off and you find out it wasn't installed right, it also means you've just saved yourself from ceiling damage or a flood. Okay, so there's no downside here to find out that you've got to fix it. All right. And so that's good. And we've got a couple of videos in our channel that'll help you sort out if you need to use extension rings and stuff, Sarah. So just go kick that toilet's butt and you'll be fine. All right. Cheers. Next. Khaleesi. That's very creative. You became a YouTube member. Cheers to Khaleesi for joining the DIY crew. This is now an international institute of people who are going to not be, shall we say, subjected to the lack of labor and organization on this planet. My goodness. DIYers rule. Once you have this independence, you never have to be dependent on the workforce or the labor force or what's going on in the economy. Cheers to Warney Day. Another YouTube member joined today. That's awesome. Welcome to the DIY crew, buddy. All right. I don't even know how to pronounce this. I'm going to say co-aunts for the heck of it. I'm egressing some basement windows at your 1959 house in Montana. Absorbing all that. Okay. And one is near my gas meter. Yes. Is there a distance you would leave between the side of the egress well and the underground gas line? All right. So here's the rule. Gas lines go straight down until they turn and go to the street. So depending on what you're doing for egress, if you're digging it out, you might dig in the gas line. These things, they've got a sleeve casement, but they're not in conduit. Okay, so you want to call somebody to come out and mark it exactly where it is. The rule is it's supposed to be in sand, and there should be a marking tape. Who follows that in new home construction? All right, so it's a Wild West. All right. So if you're going to be digging anywhere near a gas line, make sure you got it marked. You know exactly where it is. Dig next to it. Okay. Next to it, away from where the mark is. And then you can identify it with your hand. Don't use a shovel. Okay. Yeah, that's the thing. So you could do the call before you dig or whatever marking service is available in your municipality. They'll be happy to come out and do that. Other than that, there is no rule about how close or how far. Okay. Once it's in the ground, it's in the ground. It's your job to identify it before you dig to make sure that you don't break it. And that's it. There's no like a 3-foot rule or something, to the best of my knowledge. And if you're concerned about that, just call up your building office in your local municipality or state, and they'll let you know if there's any rules. Because ultimately, if you're building egress windows, they're the ones that are going to be approving your plan anyway, because that's the kind of thing that you should be permitting. So they're going to be involved at some degree. It's okay to follow the rules and not tell them you're doing something until you get caught, right? And then they're in a whole heap of trouble because they will find other things to make you do just to teach you a lesson. All right. Next question. Ray Horn. I'm remodeling my bathroom. I'm using Curdy board of the shower and I have extra Curdy board. Can it be used instead of drywall? Yes. Yes and yes. All right. Here we go. I haven't done this video yet, but it's true. If you put Curdy board on the wall, and it's great because if this is your shower and your Curdy board is this wide, install the whole board. Why leave it right where the water could be a problem? Install the whole board. Okay. Outside of the tile, you take your 4x10 trowel and you skim coat the Curdy. And the drywall dries right to it. And you make a new flat surface. And then you can sand it and prime it and paint it like any other board. Okay. And you'll be just fine. Yeah, I know. Who knew? Now, it's an expensive version of a wallboard, but if you've already bought the material, you might as well use it, right? Make your life simple. And then you have your joint for what's basically waterproof to what's not, further away from your shower. And that can't be a bad thing. All right, cheers, Ray. All the best to you, buddy. Next question. The evil milkshake. I'm not even going to ask. All right. I haven't got a contractor permit yet, but does a permit have an expiration for, say, completing a basement in general? Yeah, my experience, it's 1 year. And if you're going to go over the year, then they want to just bill you for an administrative fee, like 75, maybe $100. So don't worry about it. Same with electrical, same with anything else. All right. They have a nominal fee to provide the services to provide enforcement and inspection. And if you're going to go over that, then they have administrative fees, so they want to charge you a little bit more. but it's not going to be a big deal. All right. So like if you're going to run late, who cares? Let it slide. What's $100? It buys you another whole year. All right. Don't kill yourself trying to get it done on time. It's like, don't be that old guy shoveling the snow when it's 3 degrees outside and like the snow plow comes by and plows him in and he's just hell bent to get rid of the snow and dies right there doing it. Don't be that guy, right? Take your time. It's no big deal. It's only money. Next. Hey, Nick became a YouTube member. Cheers, Nick. What is that avatar? That's some serious hair there, bud. My goodness. Michael Traeger. Hey, Jeff, he's a first-time DIYer. Hey, Michael. Love to show you our new basement. Where can I send our pictures? Well, Michael, you could always send them to our Instagram page. Or because you're a member, you could always upload pictures and put them to our forum. So all you do is go to the home page of our channel, go into the community tab. Because you're a member, you'll be in the members tab. There'll be information there how to jump into the forum, and you can post your pictures there. I would love to see them. I think it'd be great. We're going to do our best to do things in the future where we can share a lot more of this stuff. YouTube has always been a little bit of a restriction with the back and forth, okay? But we're working on, I'm in my new studio. You can tell this is a different room, right? I'm in the master bedroom over here in the Florida project. I'm going to get a TV behind me in the next week or two, and we're going to be able to share pictures on the internet and do some shout outs and brag on you guys. I think it'd be awesome. But that's how it's done. So check us out. We also have an Instagrammer of the week. Like we take one of your pictures, guys, and we celebrate you. So I would go there. If you're not on Instagram, you want to send it to the forum, that's cool. I'll be happy to check it out. Cheers. Joe K. Is it necessary to use the green mold drywall in a bathroom? Isn't the goal to stop moisture before it reaches the drywall by having the proper paint on the surface? Yeah, right. I wish the world worked with that much wisdom. But here's the thing. The bathroom building codes are pretty screwed up. So you can get away with a 50 CFM fan, and that's not enough to take care of most bathrooms with most showers. And there's no way to know how often the shower is being used, okay? There are some households where there's 2 people and there's 2 showers, and they shower once a week each. And there are some households where there's 4 people, but 2 of them are teenage daughters, and they use 100,000 gallons of hot water a day. I mean, that's just the way she is. So what the code is designed to do is to give you a little bit of protection outside of common sense. And to be honest with you, since most people, when they're done in the bathroom, leave and turn off the light and turn off the fan at the same time, right? Having a little extra protection isn't a bad thing. And it only costs about an extra $4 a sheet. So let's not worry about it. Let's just follow the rules. It'll probably protect you from having mold down the road anyway. But to answer the question directly with code wants it in the shower area and on the ceiling where the shower is. The rest of the bathroom can be regular drywall. And if it's any different where you live, the only way for you to know for sure is to contact your building office. But that's how it is in Ontario, if that helps. Okay? Cheers. Michael Lapointe. Curbless shower. Oh, gotta love it. Are mud beds or prefabricated pans mandatory? Or can I use a sloped plywood as my shower base with thin set Ditra, thin set tile on top? Dude, there is no rule that says you can't just go straight to plywood. As a matter of fact, if you're doing it in an old house, it has a slope already. Your best bet's put the drain all the way to the end of the slope. Now, because that's just the whole bathroom's on the same slope because the middle of the house caves in. But honestly, to be honest with you, what you do have is you have a requirement. If you're going to use Ditra, you still have to have at least a 5/8 OSB. And I would prefer plywood in that scenario because I don't like how thin set bonds to Ditra and OSB. It's just a bad bond. So you get too much deflection. And so you don't want deflection in your shower because that'll end up causing you problems. So I would prefer that you would use a plywood of at least 5/8 in conjunction with Ditra on a 2x10 floor joist, 16 inches on center. Anything outside of that, you're going to have to put your comment in the forum so I can help you troubleshoot, because in my experience, if you have 2x8, it's not enough. It's going to cause you problems, okay? So there are other ways to get around that. You can actually laminate 2x4s to the side of your joist, 3/4 inch down, add 3/4 plywood between your joists, flush with the joist, and then put another layer of plywood on top, and then your Ditra, and that'll work like money in the bank, all right? But yeah, there's no rule. You can go plywood, 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 curbless, use Ditra, and if there's a joint, waterproof it with the Curdy membrane tape, okay? Yeah, follow the rules. You'll be fine. You're good. Cheers, buddy. Joey G became a YouTube member. Well, cheers, Joey. Looking forward to seeing you. Got any questions for us tonight? Love to help you. All right. We're here all night until just a little after 6. Yeah. All right. So Nick with the hair. So I'm doing built-in shelving for a library with sconces at the top. What are the requirements for hardwiring those in? Do I need to use junction boxes at each sconce with Armor Light 14.2? Here's the thing, Nick. Electrical code is different state to state. But where I live, if you're going to put sconces, that's a light fixture that requires an octagon box. And an octagon box has to be at least 1.5 inches deep, okay, if you're going to have more than one wire in it. So if you're running a series, you got octagon box, wire in, wire out. Next box, wire in, wire out. And you said 4. The last one can be a pan box. It's only 1/2 inch deep, but it only gets one wire. Those are all fine. And 14.2 wire is more than sufficient for all the lighting. All right, cheers. What are we giggling for over there? That's adorable. My wife is in the room. She's just giggling. All right, Cirrus, a small rectangle of concrete in our backyard with an uncovered PVC pipe full of water. That is cut flush with a concrete surface. Okay, any idea what it is? 100-year-old house in the Midwest. Wow, not without a picture. If it's close to the foundation, it may have been an old drain line for your water spout, your downspout. But if it's full of water, then it's obviously not going anywhere anymore. They never used PVC pipes 100 years ago. So it was somebody being creative somewhere else along the way. I don't know what else to say, except if it's holding water, you've also got hydrostatic pressure in that pipe. And I don't know how far it goes down, and neither do you. So I would put a cap on it at least so the water stops going in. Wow, that's really fascinating. PVC pipe. Yep, I don't know everything because people do the darndest things with their houses, let me tell you. Anyway, I wish I could help you more. If you send me a picture, it might help. Maybe it'll jog my memory and give me a bit more help. Yeah, that's as far as I can go with that. I'm sorry. Don't forget, guys, if you're asking me questions about your house, anything to do with exterior or thermal or structure, you got to tell me where you live too, right? It really helps a lot. Belinda wants to know if I can offer any nuggets of wisdom if you're thinking of installing a steam shower. First floor condo, San Francisco Bay Area, built the 80s. Okay, now, so 1980s, we were still using dimensional lumber. Okay, so you're going to want to make sure that you have 2x10s. First floor condo, you also are going to have condo rules for running plumbing. So you want to talk to the condo board about permits and if they have restrictions on which plumbers are allowed to work in the building. That can actually happen. Okay. And they're going to probably have to do all the roughing for you. Other than that, steam showers actually have a requirement by the TCNA, which is the National Tile Council. I probably got the words and letters backwards. It doesn't matter. The tile guys that know everything, people, they've got rules for how to build a steam shower, including a slope on the ceiling. Okay. And it all has to be water and vapor proof. So there are only certain systems out there that actually qualify as water and vapor proof. All right. So you probably are going to have to make sure that you do a little bit of research, make sure you get the right plumber, the right permit, the right code, and the right product before you go ahead and move on with that project. Or someone from the condo could just show up one day and say, oh, I'm sorry, everything you've done here, you have to tear out and start over again. And it has to be according to condo rules and inspect it. Condos are tricky and picky like that. They're even harder to deal with in the city sometimes, okay? So make friends with the condo board, do a T, and find out what the rules are. And as long as you're upfront with them about your plans and you go to them first, usually they're never a problem. But if you ever try to not clue them in onto your plans and sidestep them, and then they see a whole bunch of garbage coming out one day and they show up at your door, man, that can be a world of hurt, Belinda. Okay, so follow the rules. Make sure you got a good product. Make sure you get a good installer. All right, and you'll be fine. And yes, I love a good steam shower. So nothing wrong with that. All right. We got a super chat here. Rad Scrobeck. I don't even see a question. Look at that. There's just throwing me some love. Well, cheers, Rad. Appreciate that, buddy. If you have any questions, make sure you let us know. I'm here to help. My God. All right. Yeah, Pittsburgh again. Jeff, we have an old drum trap attached to a toilet under tile. Okay, want to get rid of the tile anyway. Can we just remove and swap with the PVC P-trap? Any other considerations? Okay, I'm not catching this, Exalt. You got a trap attached to the toilet under the tile. Want to get rid of the tile anyway? Can we just remove the swap out the PVC P-trap? Okay, so the drum trap is for a sink or a shower then leading into the toilet? Hell yeah, you can update to modern plumbing any day of the week. It's probably going to be more ideal because you'll get less solids sitting in your line. So yeah, go right ahead. Rip up the tile, open that all up, and update. Man, you are a busy guy. Can I just say? Like the amount of projects I see you coming across with your questions on, you're working harder than I am. That's incredible. Cheers, Pittsburgh. Go Steelers. All right. Yvonne Stallworthy became a YouTube member. Cheers, Yvonne. Welcome to the DIY crew. If you got a question, Yvonne, go ahead, jump in. All right. Join the conversation. Don't be shy. I'm here to help. I'm happy to do it. And let's see. What time is it here? Oh, we got lots of time, guys. We still got almost a whole 20 minutes. Let's get back to the questions. My goodness. All right, Joe. Love the showering frequency point you just made. But to be more specific, if the goal is to soundproof a bathroom, I wonder if there exists the dense fire-rated and mold drywall in one. Yes. You're not going to find it unless you find a specialty drywall supplier. And it's going to be expensive. Okay? Really expensive. Now, if you're putting this drywall in a shower and you insulate the cavity of the wall, and then you put tile and a waterproofing membrane of some sort, you're going to be really happy with the sound rating that comes from that wall. So don't overthink it. You don't need to have the fiberglass if you're going to put a solid surface tile that bounce the sound back into the bathroom again and you insulate, okay? I think you're probably overthinking that. Unless it's a shower in a sound studio for the purpose of recording the sound of showers and you don't want anybody bothering you, I think you're going to be okay. It's probably being a little bit too picky on the minors and not understanding the majors enough. But once you tile a wall, all the sound bounces right off the tile back in the same room. So you should be just fine, buddy. All right. Cheers, Joe. Now I'm going to say George Soto, but it could be Jorge. You never really know. Planning to build a floating deck in the corner of my yard. Nice. Any tips you can provide for building the base since it will have 5 sides, not a traditional 4-sided deck? Watched your vid already. Okay. If you're going to be building a non-traditional deck with 5 sides, might I suggest you take a look at the, just to pull this up here real quick. I was in the store the other day and I looked at this product and I absolutely loved it. George, it's from Camo. Oh, I got a few pictures here. Camo, here it is. Camo block. Okay, it's a plastic block. It's low profile. It takes 4, 6 dimensional number. It takes LVLs, and it's really configured really smartly. So if you just can remove your grass or your organics and you put in this black plastic foot, you can build right on top of that. All right, and it'll be probably the most dynamic way for you to get the result you want with low profile. Because even if you want to have your deck right at the grass, you can dig down. I think it's about 2.5 inches. And you can set them in so that every side of your deck, you can use 2 at each end, 1 at each end on all 5 sides, and then screw or nail them all together. You'll get a great result. And then you can just joist hanger the heck out of that thing. And that'll work great, George. All right. Cheers, buddy. Yeah. 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 All right. Light Fighter 54. Love the channel. You've drywall fix as a side hustle inspired me to start a drywall gutter cleaning side gig. Right on. Ordered some yard signs and business cards. Very excited to start advertising. Thanks, Jeff. Hey, you're welcome. And consider the jobber offer. Give it a try. You'd be surprised the amount of time you're going to save by having all of your client information on one spot for the duration of a contract or for next season. Right? They call you back. You've already got all their information. You can send them an email right from your phone as soon as you hear from them. You can book it online. You can do all your scheduling. You can send all your invoices. It's just so brilliant. Everything's in one place. And you can try it for free. You're going to be surprised. Give it a try, dude. It's going to change your life. All right. I'm telling you right now, I'd probably still be in the trades if I had something like that around when I was back there. But, they didn't have this kind of technology even 7 years ago. So this is really new, right? This is like the first time we've gone to space kind of leading technology. This is great stuff. Anyway, cheers to you. I'm glad to help you out. I'm glad to see that people are still not afraid to work for a living. Back in my day, if you didn't work 6 days a week, you were a schlepping lazy bugger. Yep, 6 days a week. Yeah, back when I was growing up, men had Sunday for their family, and that was it. And the stores were closed. Imagine that. What an interesting idea. You want work-life balance? Close everything on Sunday, huh? And you all work 6 days a week. And then we all just go for restaurants, dinner, park, whatever. It was a great way to live. I'm just saying. I miss the good old days. Let's get another question. Enough of me ranting about what it was like in the 1800s. All right. Michael Traeger, doing a little super chat, buddy. You don't need to, but I appreciate it, man. Cheers. Hot water tanks, literally 4 minutes to reach the west side of the house. Yeah, we see a lot of this. Built in 98. Another 2 minutes after being off for only 1 and 2. Remedies. Well, here's what happens. In a lot of cases, the hot water tank is designed because there's no code for how far from the fixture the tank needs to be. Okay, so you got a couple of options. You can put in an on-demand gas or electric hot water tank closer to your bathroom. All right, because I don't know if it's 1 story, 2 story. If it's a 2 story, it's probably because they have structural beams in the floor package, and so they can't pass the water line through a structural beam. So they got to go under all the way up the other side of the house, all the way back again. It's the same way my daughter's house. It's bloody ridiculous. So you can put on-demand hot water. The other thing you can do is you can put in a recirculation system. Okay, so you can have a pipe that's 60 feet away, returning back to the hot water tank. Okay, and so what that does is it moves the volume of water a lot faster. All right, and it's recirculating so that it keeps the hot water in the system. That's about the only option. All right, unless you can find a way to run more direct line to your fixture, that's pretty much the only option you got. All right, or you can get a second hot water tank, but that's about the same as having an on-demand system. So it all depends on the space. Do you have gas opportunity? Some of these electric on-demand hot water systems are really small. Like in Europe, they have one in almost every bathroom. Like that's just normal for them. I don't know why we have our hot water tank down the street and around the block. It makes no bloody sense. You're right. It's just such a waste of water. And in the world where we're crying about how we don't have enough water, we should bloody well keep the hot water as close to the fixture as possible. But you got like 2 or 3 options there, bud. All the best to you. Hopefully that helps you out. All right. Yeah. The evil milkshake is back with another question, everyone. Is it worth doing staggered double 2x4 walls, even if reducing the size of the room or just adding extra insulation to keep a corner room at temperature, always cold / hot area during the morning or night? So a double staggered 2x4 wall, even if reducing. So here's the thing. If it's always cold or hot during the morning or night, if it's always opposite of what the thermostat is set at for your home, then what you have is you have an airflow problem to that room. Okay. And there's 1 or 2 major issues that we have in this business. And you know what? I'm gonna pull up the old whiteboard here for a second, because if I explain this for one person, it could help 10,000. All right. Here's your house, and here's your garage, and here's a room above the garage. Okay. And we got our little windows on it. Okay. So now we know where the garage door is. Okay. Front door. Most houses are built where they do this. They have a floor joist package right here. Okay. And they fill it with insulation to protect you from the outside elements of the garage. And then they have a floor grate heat duct system, and it's blowing the hot air up into the room like this. Okay. Well, this room, the hot air goes up to the ceiling. Okay. So in the wintertime, everything down here is freezing cold. Now in the summertime, the cold air is blowing up here, but it's also hot. And so it's warming the whole time it's passing through that joist cavity because it doesn't have enough insulation to separate it properly. And so you're only blowing warm air up there. All right. Here's the other thing. A lot of houses are built where they have a cold air return down near the bottom of the floor. Okay. Now, if you're blowing your hot air up here, then it's pulling it back down again. Okay. That's one thing. But if you're trying to cool the air and you have your hot air return down here, you're only pulling the cold air back out again, and it's never working properly. So nowadays we have it. Actually, in a lot of cases, there's two, and you close one and alternate. But here's the thing. Down here is your problem. In a lot of cases, it's right here. What you need to do is get an electrician in there, pull your flooring, and add an in-floor electrical heat. Okay? This is what I'm saying. If you heat the floor above a garage, you can balance that room. All right? The only other thing you can do is you can go through the whole house with every single grate that's in your house, and you can close them all a little bit more and leave the one in that room open the most. Double check as well if you have carpet in that room, because if you have carpet and you don't have a cold air return because it's an older house, then the cold air return is supposed to be under the door. Okay. So if you put in carpet in an old house, you've lost your gap under the door. That was the cold air return to the staircase. So you might have to cut another inch off your door so that your air, as it's pushing in, can be pulled out. All right. And those are really all the solutions I got for you on that one. That's the basics. 3 major concerns. Pick your poison. But that's a good place to start. Always consider this with air. If you're pushing, you've got to be pulling. Okay. You're just like blowing up a balloon. And you can't put any more air in there. You can't add any more heat or any more cold. And if you've got an unconditioned space underneath that room, you're in a losing battle. And the other thing is if the room is here and the furnace is over here with the air conditioning, by the time it gets to there, it's inefficient. So maybe you got to increase your line. You got to do something. Maybe deal with it at a room level with get a mini split. How could I hire you to make a soundproof room? Oh, Rad, that's adorable. But my rate starts right now at about $1.5 million. I'm not available, dude. I'm so busy. It's not even funny, right? Like, I'm renovating a property. I'm doing live shows. I'm answering questions. I'm traveling. I appreciate it's honestly, it's a welcome compliment, but it isn't going to happen. But you can do your own. Michael says sold. Checks in the mail, eh, buddy? You know, maybe one of these days when the insurance world isn't so scared of people like me, they'll actually give me insurance so I can travel and work on your houses. But right now, we just can't get insurance. The last few years, the insurance companies pulled the reins. The world was going crazy. They're like, no new ideas. And they just won't touch me with a 10-foot pole. Each HGTV is still running around doing all their things with all their insurances, but getting new people in that world, they're just not interested. There's no new level of risk anybody's interested in taking right now. So we're stuck here continually renovating other properties by ourselves until such time that I can get released to go into the wild and go and meet you all in your own home. And that's just the bottom line. I've been dying to do this for years, but Jeffrey T, great name. Super chat. Love it. Thanks, man. Any recommendations for getting cheap plans or drawings for small jobs? Example, closing off a doorway when they are needed for a building permit. Wow, closing off a doorway. They want plans and drawings from a homeowner in your own home. Here's a recommendation. It's cheaper to move. Oh, yeah. I would love to know where you live. Because at the end of the day, a residential building permit to close off a door really should be as easy as take a napkin, draw a door, and then throw in 3 studs with a header and a bottom. Say, there's my plan. Like, really? The bureaucracy where you live is that bad? Wow. Here's another plan. No, I can't tell you to just do it without a permit, can I? No, that'd be wrong. Yeah. All right. Oh, I got to get this right. I'm going to try, my friend Pragnesh. Raj here. See that? Okay, cool. 2001 townhouse in Southern Ontario, GTA. That means Greater Toronto Area for all of you folks not from the Greater Toronto Area. You got an unfinished basement. Have 1 stack for laundry only. Need to do rough-in. Do you think it can be a DIY project? Yeah. 1 stack. Okay. If it's a 3-inch stack, you're laughing. You got no restrictions, okay? And if it's the only one in the basement, it will be a 3-inch stack. So what you do is you put in a fitting, and it goes 3-3 to a 2-inch, okay? Laundry drains require a 2-inch pipe now. So you go 3-3-2, probably a 3-3Y, so 2-inch, and then a nice 45-degree 2-inch going horizontally with a little bit of slope. Put in a P-trap, bring up a 2-inch pipe. You can definitely do it yourself. Watch the laundry video that I did from the church series last year. Okay, there should be enough information there for you to get that figured out. But the tapping into the existing stack is really the hardest part. And all you want to do with that, hang on, I'm gonna get all drawy tonight. Okay, this is really good information, guys. So you've got a floor and you got a ceiling, and you got this 3-inch pipe going up your wall. All right. And what you want to do is you want to cut a piece of this out to put in a fitting. Now, you're not moving the bottom down because it's in the concrete and gravel. You're not moving the top up because it's got branches and plumbing and things going everywhere. Okay. So what you do is you take a piece of all round, which is a metal piece of band like this. You buy it at the Home Depot. Okay. And it's got circles, holes in it, stainless steel or whatever. And you screw it to your rafter and you wrap it around and you screw it to your rafter. And that'll carry the weight so it doesn't sag. And then you come down here to the height that you want and you cut the pipe section out. Okay, that's big enough for this. Now here's a 3-inch, 2. All right, and what you do is this: you take your fitting and then you add a piece of 3-inch pipe. Goes about 1.5 inches in and about 2 inches out for the top and the bottom. Okay, and you measure this to here, and then you cut that out, same dimension. All right. And what you can do is when you're at the store, you can buy these rubber sleeves. Okay. And they've got gear clamps on them, top and bottom. All right. 1/4-inch drive. You just put your drill right on it and you slide that over and you slide it down and you put it up, slide one up, and you insert this whole pipe flush to this. And then you slide this one down and this one up until it covers this and you tighten the clamp. Tighten the clamp. Okay. And that's how you can join in new plumbing into an existing line. All right, and then you just run your 2-inch here, 45 it over towards your laundry, and you're good to go. It's 5:59. My wife just said. I'm going to break the rules and take 2 more questions. Why not? Let's do this. Brian, best way to patch a tie rod hole leaks. Trying to help mom out. 1988. Okay, tie rod hole leaks. Use hydraulic cement, my friend. All right, you're going to love it, and it's going to work every single time. Water follows the path of least resistance, and hydraulic cement is more resistance than it's used to, and it'll just continue to go further down the wall on the outside. Next. In your experience, if you tear a finished basement down to the studs and redo it, do you need a permit? Loving that question. If you tear it down to the studs, you haven't torn it far enough in most cases, because most basements aren't framed right in the first place. Yes, you're going to need a permit because whenever you tear something apart, unless it's just taking the drywall off and putting it back on again. If you're not modifying the structure or the electrical or the plumbing, and all you're doing is messing with the drywall, or if they have paneling and you're putting drywall on, then you probably are fine. But as soon as you change the insulation, they are going to want to inspect to make sure you're up to code. So give your building office a call in your neighborhood and find out what they say. They might just want to say, can you just send us some pictures of what you're doing? You might get lucky. All right. And of course, we got a super chat right then. Can you dig a crawl space to a 2-story basement? Can you DIY dig a crawl space to a 2-story basement? Hell, you can dig a DIY escape trench from Stalag 13 in World War II. I'm sure you can handle it. Just a pail, and off you go to the races. Maybe a helmet with a flashlight taped to the side. Yeah, you can dig a crawl space. It may not be fun, but at the end of the day, a crawl space is a crawl space, and someone's got to get under there with a shovel because there is no faster way to do it than a shovel. So slow and steady wins the race on that one. Don't overexert yourself, and make sure you take lots of breaks and get some rest and some hydration, and you will be fine too. Guys, it's been great. Thanks for hanging out with us again tonight. I love doing this. We're going to have another live show next week. All right. I don't even know what it is. I can't even promote it. It's been such a busy day and my brain is completely fried. And don't forget, if you're looking to be like our guy that was in the chat tonight who started his own side business and he's kicking butt, do it. Okay. Get off the sideline, invest in yourself, invest in your future, learn how to be thinking and acting like rich people, own your own business. All right. Sidestep the tax man. They don't need your money anymore anyway. They just borrow whatever they need. So who cares about your taxes? Take care of yourself and your own family. Cheers till next time.